590 WEZE Boston.
Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
Hey, everybody get exposed. Pray for all my foes, but it's the nail roll.
Yeah. Rap music, but that's kind of like gospel rap. Well, it's not really rap music. It's information. Okay, we use that. I am going to open up with a prayer as usual. In this prayer, I am going to pray for us to envelop and embrace the 7 heavenly virtues as opposed to the 7 deadly sins. So, Lord Jesus Christ, help us to ingest chastity, temperance, charity, diligence, forgiveness, kindness, and humility. That would be purity, self-restraint, giving, zeal, integrity, composure, admiration, and humbleness over lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. And that would be excessive sexual appetites, overindulgence of generally food and gluttony. Greed is avarice, and people get greedy because once you give them something, they can't get enough. Sloth is laziness and idleness. Wrath is anger and resentment. Envy, jealousy, pride. That would be judgment. And people, when they have pride, they have a lot of judgment toward everyone else. So help us get over those things, Lord. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Short and quick. And we're ready to go. What do I have on store for you today? Oh, yes. We have Today in History. Today in history, ladies and gentlemen. You guys can't wait for this. This was such a busy day, October 19th, in the annals of sports history, that all I could find was 2 entries, just 2. And here goes the first one. In 1923, October 19th, 1923, Ben Johnson persuaded the American League owners to prohibit boxing in their ballparks. Boxing in ballparks, yeah. I guess it was a big thing because he had to make an edict on it. So he did. But that ban by ban did not last long. In 1930, the world heavyweight title fight between Jack Sharkey and Max Schmeling occurred and was held in Yankee Stadium. Schmeling won the fight by default. Sharkey fouled him. He hit him low. And the ban was over. That was it. Okay. But what Ben Johnson is actually renowned for, not just making that ban on fighting that lasted 6 years, he's known for the guy who was the principal creator of the American League. Yes, the American League of Major League Baseball. That was him. In the year 1900, Ben created the American League as a minor league for the National League. That's 1900, okay? But in 1901, Ben saw his opportunity, and he discarded the contract he had with the National League, a 10-year contract, to be their minor league farm system. And he started raiding the National League stars. Well, it wasn't long. By 1903, the American League was trouncing the National League in stars and in sales, and the National League capitulated to a union between the two, and that's why we have the American League and the National League today, and by extension, the World Series. I'm going to ask a question here. There was a title fight 3 years before 1930. It wasn't held in a ballpark. It was held in a ballpark, but it was held in a football stadium. And I believe after this happened, because it was a major lucrative fight, that the ballpark owners got together and say, you know what, to heck with this ban. We need to get on with life and hold boxing back in ballparks. Let me know if you guys can find out what stadium it was held in and what was the event. Next on the list. In 1957, on October 19th, 1957, the Montreal Canadiens, Maurice Rocket Richard, became the first NHL player to score 500 goals. Richard was at that time the top goal scorer in the NHL. Now he's number 33 on the list of the most goal scorer, with Wayne Gretzky leading the pack. My, how time flies, and my, how your tongue can get locked in and just screw up a person's name. Turns out, that's all I got for today in history. It was a slow day. Out of the 38 entries, only 2 fit our stringent criteria of being a forgotten or obscure event that leads to a much larger event that every sports fan knows about. In the first event, Ben Johnson led to the upcoming World Series. In the second event, Maurice Richard segues into hockey in our Boston Bruins. And for that, I turn it over to Kevin, our producer, who has a photographic memory for players, statistics, and all things eventful, even picking, making predictions on who's going to win games, as we will find out later on today. Kevin, what we got on the Bruins?
Well, I look forward to talking about that a little bit later. Maurice Rocket Richard, the trophy named after him, obviously, and the for the highest goal scorer in the NHL each year. Tremendous talent, that is for sure. There may have not been a lot of trivia stats on this day, but
no.
In today's day and age, in this late October weekend, certainly a lot going on in all sports.
How about with the Bruins?
Well, the Bruins right now are 3-2. Starting off the year, very early into the year. They play tonight at 9:00 in Utah.
Utah has
it? They do. So this year, the Arizona Coyotes. They had some trouble with their arena and staying in Phoenix in Arizona. So they've just moved up north, and now they're
the
Utah Hockey Club. Remember when Washington had to change their name and they didn't go to the Commanders until a year after? And they were the Washington Football team. Now it's the Utah Hockey Club.
Could be the Utah Mormoneers.
Yeah, well, you ever been out to Utah, Clay?
No, I have not. Have you?
No, I've not. I have not had the pleasure to go to Utah. I've been to Denver, but not to Utah. But
I've been to Denver also.
But anyway, the Bruins right now are 3-2. As I mentioned, some folks are, I don't want to say panicking, but not used to the, I guess, mediocre start the Bruins fans have been accustomed to from what we've been seeing, meaning the hot starts the Bruins have had the past couple of years.
They're a great regular season team, the Bruins. Usually they jump out.
We know that.
They jump out.
We know that.
Hard like a hare runs from the dogs in the Derby race.
They beat up on a Colorado Avalanche team the other night, who was 0-4 to start the year. So I want to talk about panic. Look at teams like Colorado, who starts the year 0-4, a team that has been a powerhouse out in the Western Conference of the NHL, and surprising to see them start the year so poorly with the talent they have. But anyway, I think we're still seeing the rest. Jeremy Swayman hasn't been bad. He hasn't been tremendous, but he's been okay. And I think we talked about this last week and weeks prior. I mean, we're still seeing the rust from Jeremy Swayman, and that's okay. I mean, as I mentioned, it's a long year, but as I mentioned to you, as we were talking about this before, Clay, for young Jeremy Swayman, and I say young.
How old is this guy? I mean, he looks like he's still in high school.
They all do, and they all have an ability to look a lot younger than they are. But young. He is 25 years old.
Okay,
so
because if they have the ability to look young, there's going to be a lot of older people trying to play hockey if that's the case. So
25, been around with the Bruins for about 3 to 4 years now.
Okay.
But as we mentioned off air, for Jeremy, this is the first time in his young career that he is and I emphasize the
guy,
number one goalie.
Yeah, he's the guy.
For 2 years, him and Linus Ullmark were the tandem goalie. It was back and forth. The Bruins, I think, relied a little bit more on Linus than they did Swayman, but Swayman was there. With most teams, it's either a tandem goalie or it's number one, and then you have a number two that is there. Jeremy Swayman now, with the money that he has received, let's hope he's going.
One.
Let's hope he is the number one, and he is.
Well, he doesn't have a choice now.
He doesn't have a choice now. But he is the number one goalie, so that is an adjustment for him. And I think the Bruins are in good hands. We talked about it, I think, even into the spring when the Bruins were eliminated by the Florida Panthers.
Gone.
That I think we knew that one of the two had to go, and what I thought Linus Ullmark was the one to go, and he did obviously trade to the Ottawa Senators. And it's unfortunate how long the situation took with Jeremy Swayman,
because he wanted his money, and
he got it.
He has to get you better get it up front with the Jacobs. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell the truth. That's right. You better get your money up front with the Jacobs because they've been known to cut bait with you as soon as they can. That being the case, how is our guy Pasta doing?
Well, Pasternak has scored 4 goals in 5 games, so no issues there to start. Well, you mentioned, we'll see when we get to the playoffs how that.
And our guy Marchand.
Yeah, Marchand has not scored yet this year. So him and Charlie Coyle and Morgan Geeky, some of the guys, the veteran folks on the team are struggling to find some points early on. I emphasize the word early, but right now the Bruins are right in it, 3-2. They play tonight, 9 o'clock in Utah. I still think the Florida Panthers, who the Bruins have faced twice this year already and who have beaten the Bruins twice, both in Florida and at home, to start the year. I think Florida, by and away, is the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, and I would say probably in the NHL as well, the talent they have. And defending Stanley Cup champions, in all these leagues, besides the exception of sometimes the NHL with the Lightning and even in the NBA with the Warriors, but we haven't seen a lot of repeat champions.
It's going to be this year, though.
You think? I mean, right now I'd peg them as the early favorite.
I think the Celtics and the Panthers.
So both NBA and NHL. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to wager anything on it, but
no, we won't do that.
That's my guess right
Not
here.
Not yet. But no, it's early. I mean, I know the fourth line has been playing well, and we'll see. It's a long way to go. But keep our eye on Jeremy Swayman, who is the number one guy.
We'll see what happens quickly before we get into football. I want to touch on our baseball. Apparently, we have a situation. Dan Johnson, thanks to you, we have a World Series that's upcoming next week. Both the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Dodgers could close out the very next games.
That's correct. So tonight, the Yankees could finish off the Cleveland Guardians and head to their first World Series since 2009. Last time they won the World Series too that year.
It's been a long time. Go Yankees.
It's been a long time. They haven't been able. They've been to plenty of championship series, but they haven't been able to advance since that time.
Go Yankees.
They were lucky last night. They beat up on the Cleveland Guardians closer, Emmanuel Clase.
Everyone should beat up on Cleveland.
Has had a tremendous. Well,
but whether they're the Browns or the Cavaliers or the Guardians,
just don't like the city of Cleveland. That's okay. That's all right. But a tremendous story from the Guardians, being a team that really a lot of people didn't expect to go this far.
Nobody expected them to get there.
They had it last night. They came back and they weren't able to do it. But Game 3 was tremendous, and walk-off home run from David Fry and Noel as well in the ninth inning with a game-tying home run. So I expect the Yankees to close it out tonight. I do.
Let's go Yankees. And then let's get to the
and then
Dodgers.
Across town last night in Queens, the Mets were able to survive. They're facing elimination. They won the game 12-6 against the Dodgers. And every game in that series, Clay, has been the winner of that game has won the game by more than 4 runs. They've been really blowouts in each game. Last night was 12-6. We've had 9-0 games. We've had
the Dodgers has had a bad game. They're going to take that game.
They've had 2 bad games, and what they wanted to avoid is happening. Having to go back to LA in Game 6.
Well,
tomorrow night.
I'm glad they're going back to LA in Game 6, and they could win it there, and they can make the Mets take a long hike back to New York, which is what they should do, because the Mets shouldn't have been in this in the first place. They were a wild card number 6 team that somehow has
a team that was under 500 too to be for a good chunk of the first half of the year.
It's ridiculous.
Well, you gotta like it though. I mean, you gotta like the underdog story. Do you not?
Oh, okay.
I think it seems as though that you are pushing a Dodgers. Yankees.
Totally.
How much is MLB paying you, Clay, to say this right now?
I can't go on. I can't go on the air saying these things. I don't know what you're talking about.
They all want to see it. Yeah, I mean, how would they pass up a
Dodgers
Otani Judge showdown in the World Series?
We're going all the way back to the 1950s with the Dodgers and the Yankees again.
Sure.
Okay. And you remember 1967, I think last week we talked about it, was the first time in 34 years when the Red Sox played the St. Louis Cardinals. That a Dodgers, Yankees, or Giants team was not in the World Series.
Right.
So, you know what? They won it badly for nostalgia's sakes and for marketing. You got the 2 biggest markets in the United States. You got LA and you got New York. How could you want anything more? So they don't. So let's move on.
You don't want to see Subway Series.
No, they don't. That's not going to be worth it.
Mets, Yankees. You don't want to see it? Really?
No. Let's move on to the New England Patriots.
He doesn't want to talk about it. Sorry. We'll come back and talk about it next week.
Patriots. We're going to the Patriots.
Oh, because that's a really fun subject to talk about.
We have to talk about the important things in life. And one of the important things in life in New England are the New England Patriots, 2 Patriots fans. And New England fans have been very loyal and very rabid, very enthused about their team for the last 25 years. Well, before that, not so much, but for the last 25 years, New England Patriots fans, and they deserved it. They went the first 34 years of the existence of the organization without getting anything. I mean, without winning anything. And finally, their time came and they won. So the Patriots are back in the news. They're going to London. And let me give out the number. The number is 844-249-5247. 844-249-5247. Just in case anybody thinks they know the answer to the title fight that was held before the Max Schmeling Jack Sharkey title fight, which lifted the ban on Major League Parks having boxing. Now, back to the Patriots. The Drake Maye era has begun. And it began with a loss, as I expected, and you expected, Kevin, because you picked against him also.
I did.
Drake Maye was not bad. No, he his first NFL start, he was 19 for 32. Not bad. For 239 passing yards, not bad. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 1 fumble. 87.9 passer rating. He was sacked 4 times. He had 5 carries for 38 yards. And after the game, he needed an MRI on his knee.
WEZE, good morning.
He needed an MRI on his knee. Now, this is what I was afraid of, and this is what I didn't want. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't put these guys out there so early in their career that they suffer injuries, and now he's going to be favoring that knee if they put him back out there, and he's going to go into survival mode. And 4 years from now, he'll look like Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones. Save these guys, and that's why they should have kept Belly Zappi. But let's stay on with this game, okay? Houston beat the Patriots 41-21. It wasn't even close. It was really not close. And before we start on tearing this apart, I'm going to bring Wayne in. He probably has the answer to what event.
Wayne is not happy with our BC Eagles.
Was he happy with the Patriots? Okay, Wayne, what do we got here? What do we got?
I'm going to take a guess. I want to think it was Jack Johnson and Jeff Jeffries out in Vegas.
No, that would be 1917, I believe. So, no, that was before Ben Johnson put the ban on boxing in the ballparks.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just taking a stab in the dark, but I also want to mention I'm going to stage a one-man protest against the Patriots organization. I am giving the players a pass this year because I think ownership really needs to spend money on talent, in which they have not been doing. And until they adapt Tom Brady, when you ask Tom Brady about which championship ring that he likes the most, he tells you the next one. So they need to get back to that philosophy and start restocking the roster with talent.
You think talent's the problem?
I think talent and definitely the management right now. I don't know. Yeah. So right now, we'll give Gerard Mayo a pass because it's a tough act to follow after 20-something years. The GM, so I'm not blaming the players right now. I think we have to throw
they're
money
overmatched.
after
The players are overmatched. We can see that they're over, especially the front line, the offensive line. Oh my gosh.
I wish to take a page out of Brad Stevens' page, and you need to get people that fit the program. You need to get a Derek White, a Drew Holiday. You need to get personnel that want to come in here, perform in here. And I think the fastest way of us getting back on track is it's all about the Benjamins, because we do not have Brady. Look at what Drake Maye, that 50-yard touchdown bomb. So we have the wide receiver. We have some talent here, but we need to get some more talent.
I think they need coaching. I mean, I'm not going to give Gerard Mayo a pass, okay? The coaching is terrible. The coaching is terrible. It's just and I know the offensive line is bad, okay? Yes, they haven't done a good job with that. But the defense is somewhat above average, but they need more coaching in that area too. They seem to be out of place, not knowing their assignments, not using the correct technique to cover players or to, cut off the edge, make sure they set the edge. So they're doing a lot of fundamental things wrong that coaching would alleviate if they had the right coaching, and that's a problem. Okay, that's something that has to be addressed.
So, who do you like in the women's final, the Liberty or the Lynx?
I like. Let me see who I got here.
I'm going with the Lynx. I like what Courtney Williams and Collier doing, and Carlton and Smith. It seemed like they've been trying to give the Liberty this championship. That game one, the Lynx won that game like about 3 different times. The one time the ball went up, Brianna Stewart, they gave her.
Listen, I stopped watching after Caitlin Clark went out. There's nothing to watch in those games.
Man, Wayne, you pay attention to everything. WNBA, F1, college football.
After Clayton Clark was pushed out of the scene by getting poked in the eye unceremoniously, and oh wow, I can't. I mean, the WNBA is like opening a can of worms. I mean, because if I have to talk about it, then we have to do the video on the girl who poked her in the eye, who is.
That was Johnny Carrington from Connecticut, son.
Who is, let's just put it this way, roommates with the person who is also on the team with Caitlin, and they were making fun of her. So I don't, this is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Caitlin Clark should just quit the WNBA, go with Ice Cube, and let the WNBA fall into abysmal, the abyss, because nobody watches them. I mean, you do, but other than you, nobody else.
You're missing a really great playoffs right now, man. This game 5 back in New York is going to be a battle royale. So
how many dunks? How many dunks were there?
There are no dunks.
There are no dunks.
I mean, it's still you got a 3-point, you got an inside outside game, you have defense.
I could take a high school team, high school boys team that would beat the pants off those girls. And why am I going to watch something that's inferior to a high school boys team? I mean, you got to give me more. You got to give me more.
I just want to say something to Kevin about the Florida Panthers and the Bruins. I don't know how Buffalo Sabres beat those guys 5-2. And, I mean, Greenway was just putting on a clinic. They were just scoring back and forth. And we lose the home opener against the Panthers. We lose in Florida. I don't know if we have a mental hang up with these guys.
Well, there's no doubt that the Panthers have had the upper hand of the Bruins ever since when they beat the Bruins in the first round 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
As the wild card team.
Yeah,
the historic Bruins
they're
team.
in their head. They're in their heads.
And I mean,
they own them.
And that Sabre team set it up 0-3, and they should have lost that game to the Panthers, but it came in man up and just took them to the shed, man. That was a great game. I don't know if you saw that game.
Yeah. Sports is weird, Wayne, as we know, especially these early season games. I think the Panthers will take a loss to the Buffalo Sabres early on in the year than opposed to later on in the year.
Yeah, and also,
against a better team.
And also, they look at the Bruins as competition, and they probably looked at the Buffalo Sabres as a day off.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
But it wasn't a day off. They thought it was going to be a day off, but it wasn't. It's like Jacksonville. Who did Jacksonville beat? They beat whatever. They won. They only have won
Indianapolis
one game
against Joe Flacco.
Right, and they came in and they scored almost 40 points. I mean, obviously Indianapolis' defense thought it was going to be a day off, but not off, and it was anything but. So.
Well, anyway.
Well, let's go Dodgers. Let's go Lynx, and we'll keep it rolling.
You're rooting for the Dodgers? I mean, it's like Red Sox.
Man. It's Mookie Betts.
But not only that, they got Mookie Betts, Kiki Hernandez, Ryan Brazier.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like Boston West.
Dave Roberts too.
Dave Roberts. Yeah, it's like Red Sox West. I mean,
it's the lesser. I think if it is the Dodgers Yankees, I think by default we have to go with the Dodgers. Lesser of two evils.
I'm going with the Yankees.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. Yeah. Wow.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it as we go along.
Wow.
Have a great day, guys.
All right,
you
Wayne.
too, Wayne. Thank you.
It easy.
Thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going with the Yankees. They deserve it. That's a real team.
Yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about that.
It's a real team.
We're going to dedicate a whole show to that.
I'm just saying, they went out and got Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig
100 years ago.
But they went out and did it.
That's then. This is now.
They made Major League Baseball, and they deserve another championship. I don't know about deserve, but they're probably going to get it anyway.
Yeah, 27 is not enough.
27 is not enough. They ought to get 30.
Okay.
The rest of these teams are just messing around. Okay. They got to go out and take the lead again and show them how it's done. Back to the Patriots. Yeah, I don't think the defense is that bad. As Wayne brought up, they have some issues with talent, but I don't know if money buys you talent as much as good drafting. Getting talent in the NFL could be tough. You can spend a lot of money. You can end up, spending a lot of money like Cincinnati and Dallas, and you end up with you got some of the worst records in the league. So spending money in itself is not going to be the remedy.
Clay, this team is very undisciplined.
Yeah,
very undisciplined. Not just on the field with unnecessary penalties, but off the field too. I mean, we have the situation with Jabril Peppers, and Barmore too. I mean, Peppers probably not going to see the field for the foreseeable future. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the lack of discipline. I'm not going to say under Belichick that they were more disciplined, but they also had some issues too. Chandler Jones, we know, obviously Hernandez and things like that. But this team is undisciplined.
They seem to be out of control for a team that's losing. I mean, you expect a little bit more rambunctiousness from a team that's winning. Okay, they're out there, making noise, getting in situations that they shouldn't get in. But for a team that's losing, this is the last thing you want. The Barmore situation, after reviewing that, I'm not sure he should be coming back based upon the video that was released and his attitude about the whole thing. He basically inflamed the attitude and then, as usual, tried to play the race card. And it's enough. Just freaking, the car's not even registered to you. He's talking about, I'm not getting out the car. You're not taking my car. The car's not even registered to him. Not even registered in the state. It just becomes more ridiculous listening to this stuff time and time again. So if you have a guy on your team that's behaving like that, he probably should not be on your team because everything's not his fault. Whenever something happens, it's never going to be his fault.
Well, not to mention he hasn't played all year with blood clots. He's been out.
What was he doing in Providence? We don't even want to know. I have a feeling I know what he was doing in Providence, but I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to leave it alone. And
maybe he was going to see the doctor.
He was going, at 11, at 12, at 1 o'clock when they pulled him over. Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he was leaving some establishment.
Well, anyway.
At that period of time that stayed open late. I don't think it was the doctor. That being said, undisciplined, not only off the field, but on the field. They made a number of penalties. I think they need coaching. I think they could use definitely a backup quarterback. Drake Maye does not need to play right now. He had to undergo an MRI for a injured knee. They're going to put him right back out there. And why that is, I don't know. They should have spent the whole week searching for a backup quarterback that they could throw in there that's not named Milton or May. What is wrong with these guys? How can they not see that, it's the obviousness of it all, that you can't just throw these guys in there and expect good results. And all the Patriots fans that wanted to see Drake Maye, are you satisfied? Now, what if he goes off there and he gets injured? What are you going to say? You spent all this money in capital getting a guy drafted in the third round just so you yahoos could jump up and down and say, Jacoby Brissett is not enough. You got to play the kid. Now, if the kid gets hurt, where are you guys going to be? All in the back of the bus, behaving as if you didn't say what you said.
So you are wanting them to go sign a Ryan Tannehill type?
Definitely.
A free agent?
Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ryan Brazier. I don't care who you bring in here.
Well,
just get somebody in here who's
one guy who's retired and one guy who plays baseball. So I don't know what that would be.
I don't care. Get him in here.
So you're comfortable with them keeping 4 quarterbacks?
Oh, listen, they should have never drafted. If they were going to draft, and it's another mistake of theirs. If you were going to draft Drake Maye, you should have never drafted Joe Milton. You could have used that on another offensive lineman, defensive, whatever the case may be. Okay? But you're saving that. You use that pick for something else, and you go out and then you could have kept Bailey Zappi. They're just making so many mistakes. It's giving me a headache. It's driving me nuts. I don't even know what to say for these guys. They make everything a conundrum when it doesn't have to be. It was an easy decision. Draft Maye. Get offensive linemen around him. Keep Bailey Zappi. Because you don't want to play Maye the first year.
Eventually, when Joe Milton goes to another team and leads them to the playoffs, we're going to be talking about this because I think Joe Milton, there is talent there.
I know there's talent there, but what are you going to do? You can't put – neither one of them are going to be any good in the first year.
Well, after the first series when Maye threw the interception, I said, all right, let's see Joe Milton. And listen, there was some promise there. I mean, there was some promise with Drake. There's no doubt about it.
He's a good quarterback. He could be a great quarterback. But like – for all of you guys who are, biting at the bit, frothing at the mouth, having to have Drake Maye in there. If he gets hurt, there it goes. It's done. Okay, so this is why you have to be patient. This is why you have to be patient with these guys and not throw them into the fire so quick and easy just because the team is losing. They're going to lose with them out there in the first year. Very seldom does your team go anywhere in the first year with a rookie quarterback. So it doesn't even really matter whether he's in there or not, and as far as winning goes, but it does matter as far as injury goes. You don't want the kid to get injured. You don't want him to be put in survival mode. You want him to learn the game, and then he's not going to learn it if he's getting chased all over by a pack of ravenous wolves looking to tear him and rip him apart. So that being said, I think it's time for us to have a commercial. All right, let's have a little break here and have a commercial. And thankfully, we have a sponsor that sponsors us, and that is Oyama Investments. Hello. If you are looking to buy or sell a house, are you looking to rent or lease an apartment or condo? Are you looking for a company to manage your real estate property so that you don't have to? Well, look no further than Oyama Investments. Whether in Boston or Brookline, the North Shore or the South Shore, Oyama Investments has over 20 years of experience in buying, selling, renting, and leasing real estate as well as real estate management. Find them online at Oyama, O-Y-A-M-A Investments Limited. That's O-Y-A-M-A Investments Limited. Or give them a call at 617-221-8881. 617-221-8881. And Drake Maye, you might want to take down that number because if you get hurt, you're going to need a place just to relax for a little while, for a couple of months. Back to the Patriots. Let's just go through the box score. Okay, we went through what he did. 20-33. The other one said 32. 243 yards. Average of 7.4 yards. That's not very great. Well, but three touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times for 34 yards. And that's with a running quarterback. He was sacked 4 times. Rushing, he led him in rushing with 38 yards. The line can't block. They can't pass block. They can't run block. The next highest rusher had 13 carries for 19 yards. Demario Douglas led all receivers. 9 targets, 6 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. Keyshawn Boutte also had a 40-yard long touchdown. I think he's a player. Hunter Henry was steady Eddie. He carried the team as far as receiving goals. He kept him going. He was 5 targets. He made some tough catches. And the rest of them, especially Jalen Polk, I think Jalen just took the day off. He didn't seem to be in there. Nothing I can say about that. There were 3 fumbles by Austin Hooper, Drake Maye, and Marcus Jones. They lost 2 of them. And the defense gave up 41 points, so not much we can say about them. I think that about sums it up. The defense gave up 41 points, and it was supposed to be the team's strong suit. If nobody else wants to talk about the Patriots, if no one else has anything to say about the Patriots, I'll give you the line again, 844-249-5247, 844-249-5247. We are going to move on to our picks and how we did last week. because, well, the first pick that we're going to have to make is on the Patriots. So we're still on the Patriots.
How did we do last week?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to know how we did last week. No, you really don't. You really do. You really? Does anybody? Okay.
I would like to know.
Okay. Well, there were 13 games played last week, and Kevin,
excluding of course Thursday night game.
Yeah, we didn't pick that one because it was already done. And Kevin, he was right. All 13 of them. All 13 games.
It's not easy being right all the time.
All 13 games. He picked them. And you know what? I was 11-2. I could have been a contender. I could have been 12-1. But Kevin gave me the wrong information. He told me that Joe Flacco was not playing for the Indianapolis Colts, and therefore I went with the Tennessee Titans. Joe Flacco did play, and they just slapped Tennessee all around. So I would have been 12-1. I still would have lost, but I went to him anyway.
Well,
but I think he was just lucky. We're gonna anything you want to go over on this that you want to see.
Well, I mean, if you want to blame me, that's your prerogative on Indianapolis.
It is my prerogative.
It was
Bobby Brown would say that's my prerogative.
It was looking like Anthony Richardson was going to play. They decided to keep him out another week, and he is playing this week. So we'll talk about that. But Joe Flacco had a nice win, and we talk about backup quarterbacks. I mean, how does it feel to be Joe Flacco? I mean, a guy that came in last year, with Cleveland, led them to the playoffs. Now with Indianapolis and keeping the Colts afloat while Anthony Richardson is battling injury. And now Joe's going to go back to the bench.
And, I mean, they should play.
Maybe the Patriots should trade for him.
They should play the better player. They can't get Joe Flacco because then they'll have a problem next year because Joe will win. Deshaun Watson should have been cut last year after seeing what Joe Flacco should do. Anthony Richardson should be riding the bench. He should be the backup. Joe Flacco should be the starter.
You can't do that, though, for the number one overall pick.
Guys, do you want to win? See, here we go with this placeholding. We go with this placeholding thing. I don't believe in this privilege stuff. If the backup guy is out playing the guy, he should play. I mean, we would want that, wouldn't we? I mean, it's
a tough situation to be in.
That's what competition is about. And that's the reason why Drew Bledsoe did not play when Tom Brady was racking it up.
Well,
and that's the reason why.
Look at what happened. Are you saying it's a bad thing?
No, I'm saying it's a bad thing when you throw the guy back in there when the other guy is actually the better quarterback.
Well, I think it depends on the situation.
It does not depend.
Okay, well,
not at all.
Then, okay, we won't go down.
The better player, the better playing quarterback is the guy who should be playing, and that would be Joe Flacco. If Indianapolis wants to win, which shows you their commitment is not to winning. Their commitment is to not making themselves look like idiots for drafting the guy who can't get the job done. Wrong move, Indiana.
Well, we'll see. And another game last week. How about Detroit? 47 points. Going down to Jerry World and beating up on Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys.
I love it. You can't make this up. I mean, you got to love, and this is the point I want to make with paying. You can pay through the nose, but it doesn't mean anything because there you go, choke. You can have a bunch of high-paid players, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win. You are going to need to get some coaching in there. And earlier this week, Robert Kraft was on speaking about the situation and basically, the 20-year dynasty. And Robert Kraft wants you to know, Wayne, that he spends up to the cap every year. Yeah, he does. He spends up to the cap every year. It's not his fault that what do you want him to do? He spends up to the cap, and he tries not to go over it, but he's better than Jeremy Jacobs on that one. But he spends up to the cap every year. The players got to play; they got to produce. And I know you can't wait till next week to come over here and to call in and to tell me that I don't know that somehow he's not spending enough, but he spends up to the cap. So what are we going to do?
And the other big storyline, too, I know we want to keep talking about Dallas, but another big headline with the Jets. They fired, obviously, Robert Saleh, and they brought in a new weapon for Aaron Rodgers to make him even more happy. So they fired the coach for Aaron, and then they brought in another weapon for Aaron. They are doing everything and anything to make Aaron Rodgers happy as a New York Jet. And right now, they're still 2-4. Is Devontae Adams going to be the key for the Jets' success?
No, not at all. Not at all. He will catch some passes. He'll do fairly well. They got Allen Lazard and Devontae Adams, two former Green Bay Packers receivers that are now with Aaron Rodgers, but the time has passed for Aaron. But I want to ask you a question. Kevin, isn't this like deja vu? Didn't he do this to Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, so Mike McCarthy was fired. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah.
Well,
And Woody Johnson did something that he's never done before. He's fired plenty of coaches, but he's never fired a coach mid-season.
Well, Woody Johnson chose sides, and he chose the wrong side on this one. But he had sunk so much money. I couldn't figure out why he spent all this money for Aaron. It must be some sort of relationship he had with Aaron before this, and he decided that it was going to work professionally.
Well, look, it's the same Jets team from a decade ago that brought in Brett Favre. Remember? And how'd that work out for 1 year?
Yeah, Brett Favre was really done.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers was done too, but I think
anyway.
Brett Favre was even more done. But this guy's a poor judge of talent, this Woody person. With that being said, let's move on to our picks. The only ones that I had wrong that Kevin had right was Tampa Bay at New Orleans. I was giving Shane Rattler a shot. Tampa Bay. New Orleans has always been a nemesis of Tampa Bay and has been a boogeyman to them, even when they start a rookie quarterback. Not so much anymore.
51 points.
And then we had the Indianapolis game. So other than that,
last week is gone. Here we go for this week.
This week.
But go ahead. We'll let you
I'll start off, and then you
we'll
take the
just
next
keep
game,
it going.
and then I'll
Make
take
it easy.
the next game, and then you take the next game, and we're working like that.
It worked last week. Let's do it again.
Actually, I'm going to give you the first one. I want to hear what you got to say on this one.
Oh, you're going to give me the first one? All right. Patriots traveling to London. They're in London right now. Jacksonville just had a big loss in London last week against Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, who are playing some good football right now. Look out for the Bears in a tough NFC North division, probably the best division of football right now. Patriots are out there in London. I am going to take the Patriots. I think Drake Maye is going to get his first win, of course, in London. And there is trouble. We talked about trouble in Dallas, trouble in other franchises, Cleveland. Jacksonville's right up there as well. I think Doug Peterson, his days are numbered. Remember, this is the owner, the Jaguars, that has given him a vote of confidence many times and has said this is the best roster that he has ever assembled in Jacksonville. And they are continuing to struggle week in and week out with Trevor Lawrence, and I don't think it's working. And I would not be surprised if Jacksonville, if the Patriots beat up on them, heading back home. Yeah, Mac Jones. Yeah.
How about they come home and he gets fired like Robert Saleh was fired?
That's what I would predict. This won't be the first time we've seen coaches fired after the long trip home from London. And they've been there for 2 weeks. So that's a long time to be there.
Yeah, he'll just fire him quick, fast, and in a hurry.
I mean, listen, Doug Peterson, say what you want. It's not working in Jacksonville. It's just not working.
Well, I'm going to show a vote of confidence. I'm going with Jacksonville on this one.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going with Jacksonville. Next game, we have Seattle traveling to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, to take on the Atlanta Falcons. And Atlanta is favored by 3. Tickets are $70. This is a tough game. It's a tough game. But Atlanta's not a home team. I'm going with Seattle.
I'm going to take Atlanta. They won last week against the Carolina Panthers, 38-20. They won 3 in a row. I would pick either them or Tampa Bay to win the NFC South this year. I think Raheem Morris is settling in nicely as the head coach with Kirk Cousins at the helm. Seattle coming off a tough loss last week against San Francisco. They've lost 3 in a row after starting the year 3-0.
Yeah.
Going to take Atlanta at home in a close game. So 2 disagreements right there.
Right from the beginning. This is what makes it interesting. We have to give the people something to root for.
Yeah. The lowly Tennessee Titans traveling up to Buffalo and going to take the Bills on an easy one here. The Bills just acquiring Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns this week. Going to take the Bills to beat up on Tennessee with ease. 1 o'clock in Buffalo tomorrow. Bills had a nice close win on Monday night last week against the Jets.
Yeah, with the Jets. Yeah, get that out of there. There we go. Well, let's see. If you're taking Buffalo, I'm taking Buffalo too.
I was going to say, you would take Tennessee again. That worked out so well for you last week.
It's not happening. Not happening. Next game, we have Cincinnati traveling to Cleveland. Now, this one's a laugher.
This is a toilet bowl game of the week.
Cincinnati's traveling to Cleveland, which is not that far away, thank gosh, for Cincinnati, and they don't have to travel far for this. A 1 o'clock game. It's going to be played at Huntington Bank Field, Cleveland, Ohio. Cincinnati's favored by 5.5. I am taking Cincinnati.
I'm also going to take the Bengals. They had a nice bounce-back win last week on Sunday night against the Giants, a team that is looking to get back into contention. They're 2-4 right now. A third win for Joe Burrow is what this team needs, and I think they're going to beat up on Cleveland. We talked about teams that are in trouble. I mean, the situation in Cleveland right now, ranked dead last in offense. The contract situation with Deshaun Watson. I mean,
they could have had Joe Flacco.
I am not a fan of Jameis Winston, but at this point, I think Kevin Stefanski, who's a good head coach, has to make a move. They have to do something. They just traded away Amari Cooper. They have to do something.
It's done.
And it looks like Nick Chubb is coming back too. Maybe he'll help the offense.
Don't even play Nick Chubb. Leave him off. Don't even waste that guy's talent on this crap.
But it's not good. The situation with Deshaun Watson is not good.
No, it's terrible. As well, but they've known this for 2 or 3 years now, and then they let Joe Flacco go, and they kept Deshaun Watson, and he looked like he looked terrible. There's no excuse for this. They deserve to lose. You got the next one. But if you want to go to the game, if anybody in Cleveland has some free time, you can get into this game for $41 cheaply. Yeah.
Best of luck. This is a great 1 o'clock game up in Green Bay. Houston and Green Bay. Obviously, the Texans with the big win last week, traveling to the Patriots. Green Bay continuing their strong stance. The NFC North Division, they're hanging around there with the Bears and the Lions and the Vikings, teams that are within 1 game apiece of each other. I'm going to take the Packers at home. I think Jordan Love, they beat up last week at home against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Jordan Love proving himself very nicely in Green Bay. This will be a great game. I think Houston hasn't really faced a lot of adversity this year. They're 4-1. I'm going to have them lose this week. 5-1. With 3 wins in a row, they're going to lose up in Green Bay in a close game.
Well, Green Bay is playing at home, and this is one of the more rabid fan bases because they have the highest tickets, period. Green Bay, and they always do this every week. It'll cost you $170 just to get in the game at Green Bay. No joke. $170. I'm taking Green Bay also.
Okay. This, in my opinion, I jumped one too early. This is not the game of the week.
No.
Dolphins traveling to the Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson is started. So if I'm wrong, I won't show up on the air next week. But Anthony Richardson is going to be in there. I think regardless if it's Flacco or Richardson, I think the Colts will take care of the Miami Dolphins without Tua still out.
I will agree with you. Mike McDaniels has proven to be a one-trick pony, and didn't plan very well. I mean, his team is full of off the field, on the field mistakes. Also, the Tyreek Hill incident. He shows no control. He shows no organization, no coordination of anything. One guy goes out, and a very, very weak-armed quarterback at that. And he hasn't been able to replace this guy. Now, maybe you can't replace the guy fully, but maybe you can. Okay? It's not like he has a rocket arm. It's not like he was a great scrambler, because he wasn't. Anytime he scrambled, he got hurt. So you're not really replacing a lot there, and you can't seem to do that. So Mike McDaniels, you're the big problem. Indianapolis, I'm taking Indianapolis for this one.
All right, go ahead.
Detroit against Minnesota. Detroit is going into Minnesota to play, and Minnesota's undefeated. Detroit is 5-1. I think Minnesota is what, 5-0?
5-0. Detroit's 4-1.
4-1, 5-0.
Coming off the bye.
This is a tough game. It's going to be played in U.S. Bank Stadium, and Minnesota's favored 1.5. I'm taking Minnesota.
You're going to take the home team. I'm going to go riding the hot hand in the Detroit Lions. What they were able to do last week in Dallas, beat up on Dak Prescott.
Who doesn't beat up on Dallas and Dak Prescott?
Well, they do, but putting up close to 50 points is pretty impressive.
Okay.
Not to say the Vikings aren't a good team. They are. It's going to be a fight to the finish for the NFC North, but I'm going to go with the hot hand. Going to take Jared Goff and the Lions, take over control of the NFC North. They're going to beat up on the Minnesota Vikings.
We will
very
see.
good 1 o'clock game. They're marketing Kansas City and San Francisco this week because of the Super Bowl matchup. But this, in my opinion, is the game of the week up in Minnesota.
This should have been flexed.
Yeah.
It should have been flexed.
But I don't think they flex games early in the year. They do it later on.
They used to do it for the Patriots all the time.
Well,
yeah, the Patriots, when they were rolling, they always got flexed out.
All right, we got about 4.5 minutes. We got to roll through these.
All right. You got the next one.
The Eagles are traveling to the Midlands to play the New York Giants. The Eagles beat up on Cleveland last week. Giants lost at home against Cincinnati on Sunday Night Football. I am going to take Nick Sirianni, who's under some fire too. If you saw Clay screaming at the fans, he was very, very emotional in last week's game. I'm going to take the Eagles in this one against the Giants.
Yeah, well, I'm going with the Eagles also. The next one is Las Vegas is traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams.
Yeah, this is a bad game too.
This is a great game. You can get tickets. I mean, the Rams are selling out. You can't get a ticket less than $134 there.
Yeah,
and
to see two
Los
bad
Angeles is actually favored in this one. I'm taking LA.
I'll take the Rams too. Matthew Stafford. It'll be interesting to see with Aiden O'Connell now starting and without Devontae Adams, what the Raiders are going to be able to do. I think Antonio Pierce is having some real struggles out there.
Big time.
And news with the Raiders too. Tom Brady just signed on to be the minority owner of the
That's
Vegas
fantastic.
Raiders.
Maybe Tom can give them some magic because
Maybe.
right now they need a lot of magic.
I'm going to take the Rams in this one. Carolina at Washington, the lowly Carolina Panthers with Andy Dalton at the helm. Jaden Daniels lost a close game last week on the road against Baltimore, but continuing to surpass expectations, and the Commanders still lead the NFC North, NFC East rather, thanks to the Cowboys losing. Going to take the Commanders in an easy one against Carolina.
The Cowgirls, yeah, well, definitely. I'm going with the Washington Football Club on this one. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. They're favored by 9.5. 9.5 points. Yeah, well, that pretty much says it all. Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go by air into San Francisco, play at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. And for some reason, San Francisco is favored by 2. I'm going with Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kansas City too.
But you got to take something different from me.
The 49ers are not as strong as team as they have been in years past. They're 3-3. They've had some close games, some close losses, and some crazy losses too. But I think until somebody proves me otherwise, I think Kansas City will.
So many crazy losses because they lost.
Well, that's true. Sunday Night Football. This is Steelers are back on primetime Sunday night. This is a lot of headlines. This one we talked about that with 2 minutes ago here in the program. Aaron Rodgers traveling to Pittsburgh, and guess who's back? Mike Tomlin's surprising move, naming Russell Wilson the starting quarterback, even after the Steelers last week won with Justin Fields, and they are 4-2. They beat up on Vegas, but Russell Wilson is back, taking on the Jets.
Russell Wilson is back.
Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. I'm going to take the Jets to win this one.
I'm taking the Jets to win this one because Mike Tomlin, you can never leave enough well alone. I mean, you mess up a situation over and over. Whenever you have a great situation, you screw it up. So this is how you do it. And the next game, it's a Monday night. Baltimore is traveling to Tampa Bay.
It's a good game.
I am going to take Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens on the road too, continuing to have a good year. But look out for Tampa Bay. I would say right now, either them or Atlanta, my favorites in the NFC South. 51 points against New Orleans last week. This will be a great contest. Baltimore's favored by 3.5. I'll take the Ravens on the road. And then another Monday night game. You can't watch this on cable unless you have ESPN Plus. The Chargers traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Chargers won last week in Denver. Arizona losing in Green Bay. Going to take Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Look out for the Chargers, sneaky wild card team this year.
Ditto.
In LA.
Ditto. I'm going with them also. Yeah, I'm
that's
going
it
with
the final minute.
That's it.
Did you keep track of all that?
Yes, I have it.
All right.
I have it.
We'll go back and review that next week. A lot of stuff going on.
I don't think you're going to get 13-0.
But
if you do get 13-0, Kevin, you have my blessings.
We can only hope.
You deserve it.
A lot going on, Clay. Football, hockey, baseball. The Celtics.
The Celtics. Well, Celtics are going to kick off their thing this Tuesday. It's going to be at City Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go down there, City Hall 40:30, going to start the festivities. TNT is going to be down there with Shaq, Kenny Smith, and Charles Barkley. And yeah, you can get down there and watch it. They're going to have you can watch a watch party with them at the game. So get down there, have some fun, meet the personalities, and get ready for the opener, which is going to be Tuesday against the New York Knicks. They will beat the Knicks on that opener. And with that, have a good week. We will see you next week. And maybe somebody will get the answer to the what event happened.
Get uplifted